don't have a blanket practice plan. What are the staples of your program? Okay, when we talk about how we're going to structure a practice, I think there's two separate questions here. What are the staples of your program, and what is important to you as a coach? Okay, this can be as a head coach, this can be as a position-specific coach with your guys. All right, I think that is different than this question. What does your current team need to be good at to win this year? Okay, so what are your staples? What is non-negotiable that your team's going to have that is important to you? Okay, and then the other part of it, what does this current team need to be good at to win this year? Division I, college, junior college, high school, whatever it may be, travel ball. Now more than ever, it's easy to go place to place. All right, so we might have a lineup one year that's super offensive, right? And so we're tailoring things. Maybe we're okay with a guy being out of position on defense. Maybe we're okay not taking that extra 90 feet. Maybe taking the dose isn't as important, right? The next season, maybe we're super light offensively. Well, all of a sudden, that 90 feet becomes really important. All right, so how I'm structuring my practice needs to be based heavily around what do I have, okay? It can't just be I do the same thing every single year, all right? The part leading into that is lead from your strengths when building a practice plan, all right? Lead from your strengths when you're building a practice plan, okay? I think that as coaches, we can get super set on what are our deficiencies, all right? A lot of times as coaches, a lot of us might have got into coaching for this, right, is we can identify deficiencies and we feel like we have this knack to be able to get guys better, okay? That's a huge piece of it. But if you're leading from your strengths, I really believe that your team and your organizational growth is gonna happen a lot more than if we're so focused on getting these weaknesses and then trying to make them up to par, all right? Again, don't get lost in the deficiencies. So I'm gonna take things that I'm really good at, okay, and I'm gonna make them great. We're gonna excel. These are gonna be our focuses, or things I'm almost good at and we're gonna make them good, okay? Versus I'm gonna take the things that we're never gonna be good at, or the identity of a team we aren't, and trying to bring that just a little bit more up to par. So using a 70-30 rule, I think, is a good rule of thumb. 70% of the time, we're gonna work on the things that we're really good at, or that we have a chance to be good at, or we need to be good at. 30% of the time, we're going to spend on working on those deficiencies. Maybe it's some things that are really going to lose us games. We have to get this just a little bit better. Maybe it's just more things that I want to stress to our guys that it's an importance in the game. All right, but using the 70-30 rule is important. All right, last thing on preparation and structure, understand the difference between development and preparation with your teams. All right, development is individual, preparation is team. All right, so early in the fall when we're in individual segments, all right, when we're getting into our initial team phase, that's gonna be all about development. Once we get later in the fall, when we start implementing different things, right, team stuff, we're starting to play scrimmages, okay? Now all of a sudden we're preparing to play as a team, we're preparing to win. Then when we get into the spring, that focus shifts to preparing for other teams. All right, so that's a huge understanding you have to have about how you're going to structure your practice throughout the year. It's not that we can't have development throughout the whole course of a season. Okay, we'll get into that in this next piece. I think there's a space for that for sure. All right, but once we get into the spring, guys, it's not time to learn the signs. It's not time to learn how to put the ball on the ground or pull a breaking ball in the air. Okay, that stuff happens in the fall. That happens in the individual phase of development. Right, once we get into the spring, now we're preparing for other teams.